I was a career convict. I was a prisoner. I was nobody. I was a drug addict. I've used drugs since the time I was 11 years old until 2012. 2012, I was done.
I was really heavy into drugs, and my own family didn't even want me in the house no more because of the drugs that I was doing. The last time I went in, I seen this gentleman in there, and he was older than I was. I looked over at him and I asked myself, is that the way you're gonna be? And that was the time when I got out. I came back home, I was clean. I asked my mom, you know what, hey, I need a place to stay. She gave me an ultimatum. She gave me so much time to find me a job and do right and stay out of trouble. If not, you know, there was a door.
When I was in the rehab, I had no idea, none whatsoever, what I was going to do with my life. So it was, I knew I didn't want to use drugs anymore, but being at that point, I remember that point of where I was at, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life now? Now that that part is over with, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I actually said that prayer, God, what do you got in store for me? What are we going to do with the rest of my life?
So I came to Kingdom Causes. And when I came here, I ran into Jason and them, and Joe. And I asked for a job, and they gave me a job. I started working again, and I started noticing that there was more to life than just doing my drugs, living in the riverbed. To me, it was like they gave me another chance to become somebody or do something.
Good Soil Industries is a second chance jobs program. We help guys coming out of jails, out of rehabs, or living on the streets, trying to get back onto their feet. And it's our mission field to help individuals work their way out of poverty.
I think the early years, all of us really wanted to come around our neighbors in a way that didn't just feel like a handout, but a hand up. And a job gave us the opportunity to say, we see your value and let us invest in you in this way.
Good Soil in the beginning, we only had, I think at that time there was only, they only had one van.
We didn't have a lot of resources, but we did have some lawn mowing equipment from my dad. And we did have a van from a church that decided to offer that up for us to use.
And we would go out and we would knock out, sometimes we would knock out about, I don't know, 13, 14 lawns in a day.
Good Soil really got its professionalism by asking business owners of Bellflower, how do we do this? Ron Anima over at JJ Trucking donated our first vehicle, and Jim Tanis came alongside and helped us get professional grade equipment. I think what's beautiful about the story of Good Soil is that it was no one person that started it. It was churches in the body of Christ who came together to do something daring.
And to think about coming on and starting a business that impact your community in a heavy way and not know nothing about it and succeed at it, that just tells you that God was part of it.
So today is first day of trying this whole thing out, okay? You guys are our first time doing a fatherhood career advancement.
The turning point for Good Soil really came with the fatherhood grant, and that allowed us to being able to have capacity to really invest time and resources into the development of our workers. We've started the 24/7 Dad program.
Finance classes, relationship classes, parenting classes, and job readiness.
Not only do they cut grasses, but they're investing their time into somebody's life. That says a lot. It's very important to show this person that, you know what, you're more than just where you're at. You can go farther.
I've thought that many times sitting in a prison cell, am I ever going to be able to break the change of coming in and out of prison? Because I knew how to do that very well. It seemed like I was in and out every 90 days. I didn't know how I was going to find a job because I didn't know how to function in society.
To get back into society is hard at first. It's very hard. But once you start getting comfortable in your own skin, you take that mask off and be the real person that you are. We're scared little boys.
This class of 24/7 Dad came along, and then Good Soil came along, and I just used that as a stepping stone to literally change my life completely around.
I mean, Fatherhood program actually opened my eyes on a lot of mistakes I've made, like with my son in the past. And it allowed me to basically be a better father now with my daughter.
They taught me how to be kind, courteous, humble about my everyday life.
If, for example, where I work at, on my shift, I'm the oldest one in the kitchen. And you have times where it's like, they'll have certain situations and they don't know how to talk to a manager or whatever. You know, before I wouldn't have been able to help them. Now I'm like, okay, you can handle it this way, and this is what the outcome's gonna be. And they do it, and then they come back and, you know, thank me for it.
I still remember the day where you got to hand that first paycheck to someone, and I think that moment really hooked me. That moment where I got to reach across and give somebody what they had earned.
It's just a good feeling to be outside in the sun. You get a beautiful tan. When you sweat, when you come home smelling dirty is the best part, because you know you did your job for the day.
Especially when it's hot in the summer. Oh my God, dude. You don't want to be out there, but you're out there doing it, and it's a job. That job might lead to something else, something bigger.
We're looking for them to shoot for a career. Our goal is to move participants on in 6 months.
I went from doing the lawn service at Good Soil to driving for Kingdom Causes. Then the opportunity came around. I started working over there at the Bellflower Senior Center and the Ramona Senior Center and the Teacher Senior Center. And now I've been there 4 years now. I'm the plumber, I'm the janitor, I'm the gardener. I do a little bit of everything there. I have my own apartment, got my new car. I didn't have that before.
I was able to get my driver's license. One day, Joel and Jason handed me the keys to a van and a route and made me a route manager. You know, the fatherhood program and 24/7 Dad was still going on. They asked me how I would feel about facilitating some classes. I started facilitating those classes inside of the rehab I came from, and I realized at that point that I liked working with recovering alcoholics and addicts as well. So I got a job into treatment. But a couple of months ago, Kingdom Causes asked me to become a board member. So now I feel like not only have I freely given back what was given to me, but I'm actually helping society in the long run.
The first hire that Good Soil ever had was a guy who was living down by the riverbed, and he was a fantastic worker. He worked with us for 8 months. He was able to get an outside job after that. He had a son that lived on the same street that I lived on, and he would show up for the Wednesday night dinners. And so we began to invest in his kid as well. Along that time, this individual who was working with Good Soil ended up relapsing, and he was struck by a car and had a lot of health issues. Well, I was just downtown today, and I walked out of work, and I saw someone that I recognized, and I look into the corner of the alley, and I stopped in my tracks, and it was the first Good Soil employee's son. And he had just gotten out of prison, and I said, "Hey, is that you?" And he looked at me and he recognized me, and he slid his beer into his pocket. And I came to him, and he told me that his dad passed away 3 weeks ago. And that he knew that he wanted to change his family's story. And so I told him to get the beer off of his breath and to come back and get connected with a social enterprise. We had a moment today where I got to see the whole history of what a relationship with that first Good Soil employee looked like, and how it brought me into a relationship with his son. And his son has some of those same barriers. But there's opportunity, and there's the ability to extend hope to someone who lost it along the way. That's our opportunity as the church and as the body of God, even when it's gonna ask us to extend into the uncomfortable. Because to be able to look at
the First Good Souls participant's son in the eyes today and to be able to tell him, hey, there's still a place for you. I couldn't imagine having anything better to offer in that moment.
If we've created an environment where it's a safe zone, and sometimes we're the only place that they trust. When you see somebody stepping up to raise his kids and giving back to the community they came from, you know, and there's just something that brings joy to my heart.
My name is John Hart Oliver IV, and I'm a member of society.
Who am I now? And my name is David Zamora. I'm 60 years old, and I'm living a beautiful life. I have 2 grandkids. I have a son and a daughter that I have a relationship with now, and I am a member from society now, instead of a reject from society. I am somebody.